Well, he did hold those records wrongly. He's such an old guy. He forgets what he's talking about. The jury would find him favorable, so they wouldn't convict him. So I'm not going to try. Well, the committees want to hear the recording, don't you? Wouldn't that be juicy? Ladies, wouldn't you like to hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Biden and the administration are maintaining executive privilege. So the committees say, you're held in contempt of court. Of the House, and we want the DOJ to look into it. The House Judiciary Committee passed the measure, 18-15 party line vote. The Oversight Committee did the same in a 24-20 vote just a few hours later. So this happened very, very early. They bumped their hearings to 8 p.m. so the members could travel to New York to be by President Trump's side during the hush money trial. Figure that out.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I try to go to bed at 8:30. If I had to go to basically a big meeting that started at 8 p.m., I'd be ticked.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
They said transcripts don't capture the real demeanor of the evidence, and so they wanted to hear what's really happening. He said transcripts are often imperfect, especially to convey the timing of question and answer and the disfluencies of a witness. Oh, earlier the word of the week was, what was it? What
It must have made a big impact.
Remember, spoliation.
Spoliation.
Oh. Now, the word today is disfluencies. Disfluencies. Not dysentery, but disfluencies. So that's what's going on up there. And yesterday in the Trump trial up in New York City, Michael Cohen was absolutely just absolutely destroyed.
Melting down.
Yeah. And there's now potential that, John, that he could be in trouble for perjuring himself during his testimony.
Yeah, they brought in the legal experts on the big networks, and they were saying if the case ended today, they don't think there'd be a conviction of the former president.
This guy, Robert Costello, who was an informal, I guess, consultant to Cohen while all this was going on, and Cohen was telling him, what do I need to do to get out of trouble? And this Costello guy stated, as he has stated in congressional testimony, he stated on the air yesterday, and the prosecutors asked Cohen about it. Did Mr. Costello ask you if you owned it? And didn't he has testified that you said it was all you. It wasn't Donald Trump's idea. It was your idea. And he said, I don't recall. When a witness says I don't recall, they recall 100%, I guarantee you. So the big question now, I guess, when the trial resumes on Monday is, will they call Mr. Costello to the stand? I keep hearing that there's some risk to that. I mean, the guy's a former prosecutor. I can't imagine that they will call him, that they wouldn't call him, because I think that would close the lid on the case.
I thought a big part of it was, too, you got to remember that the prosecutors have got to convince all the jurors, and if one of them's not convinced, there's no conviction.
That's all it takes, right? I mean, that's all it takes. It's just one. And I would think those lawyers, if one or both of the lawyers that are on that panel of juries, the jury panel, if one or both of them don't, say, no, there's nothing here, if either of them vote to convict, I would think that they ought to be turned into the bar of New York for unethical or, whatever, incompetency.
Well, you would think.
How can you be an attorney and look at that and vote to convict him?
I don't know. With all the true crime I watch, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. With people not getting turned in for perjuring themselves or things like that.
All right. And then again, we continue to hear the back and forth over the A lot of fun. They're co-hosting this morning. Why? Because Stephanie Bell's out. So you guys were up at 4 o'clock talking about politics and culture, right?
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
And because Shannon's in town from North Carolina. Can't forget
That's right.
that. So it's a special week here in the Tobler house.
We get up early just to talk.
And your hubby, my son-in-law, is in training, right?
Yep.
In special operations training.
Yep.
And at Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg.
To the tune of $16 million to change the name.
Really? Well, that involves what? Signage?
But then how many bases? 7 of them? 8 of them in the country?
Yeah, right.
That's a big cost.
So they have to change the signs, all of the printing for all of the forms and everything, right?
And you have to realize all the surrounding towns. We have the pet store is Fort Wag. Well, now that doesn't make a lot of sense. So these small businesses are hurting too because they have to change. The bank is now not Fort Bragg Credit Union. They've got to change to Fort Liberty Credit Union.
Oh, so yeah.
So it's an impact to not just, it's a big deal.
We were out there over Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful area, beautiful base. And you live in what is that called? So when there's housing on base,
on base housing.
Does the
Thank you, John Marsh.
This is information, news, analysis, and opinion. Yes, it is. 93.9 and 104.5 News Radio, 950
Technically on
KWOS.
post housing at the fort.
But I mean, it's not owned by the Army, right? Or is it?
It is. We're about 20 minutes north of Main Post. Main Post ran out of room.
Yeah.
And now they built a really beautiful subdivision up about 20 minutes north of base, and we opted to take one of those homes. It's newer, it's bigger. He has a little commute, but
And a lot of walking paths around there. It's a nice development.
The girls' school is right there. You got to be able to fully vetted to get in.
Now
I feel safe as can be.
I know you listen to the show, and you may or may not have heard that John is a veteran, right? So does a lot of events there. Later on, we may go over to this event. I'm really thrilled about this. The military recognition event that Columbia College is doing later today. And Rob Boone, who himself is a retired lieutenant colonel, is going to join us at 7:35 next hour. He's the Associate VP of Strategic Partnerships and organizer of the event. So we're looking forward to talking with him a little bit later. Now, yesterday, I don't know how we got talking about it, but Hannah almost had one of those when Harry met Sally moments.
I don't know what that means, but I know you were real poopy pants
everyone
about.
else knows about it when Harry met
Right.
Sally.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah. You've got to watch when Harry met Sally. That's all I'm going to say, Hannah.
It's your homework
when
for
we
this
talked
weekend.
about macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. Okay.
You cut them up and you mix them in.
And you said it's like
Delicious.
no. You said more than delicious. It was
Like a culinary gift.
Yeah.
God's culinary gift to mankind.
So we have to get the ladies' opinions on this. Who wants to go first? Sammy, you are an online coach and wellness and fitness person.
I'm all about balance. Shannon and I both brought a whole pile of toddler snacks for us this morning. Animal crackers, sweet tarts.
You guys have a good excuse.
Yeah, we have some pregnant lady snacks over here. So it does sound like something that we might be interested in as we're both carrying a child right now.
Have you never tried it?
I haven't, no.
What?
No, growing up, we were more SpaghettiOs with meatball type people.
Yeah.
So the
Okay, so
macaroni
it's-
with hot dogs seems like it would be
Yeah.
similar. Believe it or not, my mom did allow us SpaghettiOs with
Yeah.
meatballs growing
Wow.
up. Lots
Occasionally,
of
but I
fish
mean-
sticks.
For the
Yeah.
most part, though, we were eating pretty healthy.
Yeah, I mean-
Sean, it wasn't so. But
My 5-year-old likes the macaroni with hot dogs.
Yeah.
But, that's her meal.
Now,
You took it on the chin, though, on the text line, didn't you?
I did. I received texts such as, the younger generation can't cook. And I can't remember what the other one was that I took offense to. But I took it to my Twitter and to the Wake Up in Missouri Facebook page, and we did some polls. My Twitter poll, producer_Hannah, got 72 votes. And the folks who said that mac and cheese with cut up hot dogs mixed in is delectable was 65%. And the folks who said it was grotesque was 34%. So it won there.
I don't
Randy.
think you're allowed to vote if you've never tried it, personally.
What about
Yeah.
andouille sausage?
Shannon voted, and she has never tried it.
What if we amped it up with some andouille sausage?
I've done
or, how do
kielbasa
we- See,
before.
okay, I could get down with that. Yeah.
And then on the Wake Up in Missouri Facebook page, it was almost the exact same ratio, 60% to 40%, with yum winning over yuck.
Now,
So
is the mac and cheese over the stove or in the individual cup? Because that makes a difference.
I didn't specify.
Okay. It does make a difference.
I know when I make it, I typically stick with the traditional Kraft mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Sometimes if we're feeling fancy, we'll get the frozen Stouffer's mac and cheese and do kielbasa. That's like an upscale meal in our home.
That's a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I said, man, there's nothing like a kielbasa or a bratwurst just loaded with sauerkraut and mustard, she goes, "Blah." She doesn't know.
Sauerkraut, gross.
Oh,
It's
give me
great.
the mustard. Give me the
Oh,
sauerkraut.
Yeah, there's nothing. John, are you a
Yeah, whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I love it.
Hot mustard, and
Ooh,
kraut,
baby.
onions on there.
I don't know. I think we should not talk about this at 6:42 in the morning. It doesn't
We've
really
talked
sound
about
super
worse.
appetizing to me.
Yeah, we've talked about
Now, the
worse.
last time Sammy was on, she wasn't with child.
I think technically, if you look at the dating, I might have technically been
Oh, boy,
with
we're
her.
not going into that.
I didn't know yet.
TMI here.
Yeah, and I wasn't.
Researching the timeline.
Yeah, do some calculations. That's what my sister Shannon was doing when I told her via FaceTime because she lives halfway across the country. She goes, "What?" And she was doing the calculations in her brain. I could see her math eyeballs darting back and forth, trying to figure out the dates.
I'm like, how?
How fun that you guys are pregnant together,
I know.
though.
And how
It is
fun that
fun.
we had a daughter ultrasound day at the office the
That-
other day.
that
Dad
was
got
a
to
good
do
time.
some
Yeah.
ultrasounds on us. It was so cool.
I got to hear his preemptive thoughts about that yesterday.
What's that?
You were a mixture of excited and also not a little weirded out, maybe?
Well, I get nervous
he just
when
wants
I'm.
to make sure he's doing a really great job,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
for us.
I'm always nervous about I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
No.
Especially in the office. And so I especially you get more nervous when it's like your daughters,
Yeah.
you're doing the ultrasound.
But you should be less nervous.
So let's come clean with what I did. I was so proud of myself on Shannon, whose baby is further along. Man, you'd have thought I was like a professional sonographer. I got the measurements. I put the electric calipers on. We got the width of the head was right on. Took pictures of it all, and I can print out a really cute report. And then I send my patients a little link that they then get a video with, like, the little pictures are hanging on a tree or on the wall. You can put them on the wall.
Those
Little bit of-
AI radiologists aren't coming for your job.
It's AI. It's AI performance art. And guess what? So I'm trying to finalize and edit the roll, and before I send it to her, I erased the head width picture.
It's okay.
He's still beating
This is
himself
where
up
my
about that.
technical skills. That's where I suffered. I
Your
got
head
the
wasn't
raw
in the
data.
game.
It was in the editing that I suffered. But,
He's going to have a Tobler head, though. That's
so
for
this
sure.
is causing a lot of controversy.
It is only in the past few years that I have grown in courage to speak more boldly and directly, because as I mentioned earlier, I have leaned into my vocation as a husband and father, and as a man. To the gentleman here today, part of what plagues our society is this lie that has been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our communities. As men, we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in.
All right, and that's where it got started. Harrison Butker lit the fuse on what has now become a national controversy and conversation over that speech that he gave at the Catholic Benedictine College commencement. So there he took on the LGBTQ, right? Check. He got that one. Then there was this.
This absence of men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation. Other countries do not have nearly the same absentee father rates as we find here in the U.S., and a correlation could be made in their drastically lower violence rates as well.
Okay, so he went on and on and on, and he later talked about women and about you women. I'm sure you're thinking about your degrees. I have some sound about that, and we'll get into that after the break. I think we'll talk a little bit about that. But just wanted to launch the conversation. Did both?
You look scared.
There was some abortion talk, and he talked about disorder, which, and in his construct, God's order is to have a sperm and an egg unite and make a baby, and that baby is God's creation, and it is to be respected and honored all the way to birth until natural death, right?
Mm-hmm. Preach.
And I'm just going to set the table there. I think we'll head to break. We'll come back with a little sound.
And if you're not watching us on YouTube Live,
You should be.
you need to be seeing Sammy's face right now because Sammy looks like she wants to explode.
She's like the pitcher, winding
because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Well, there was Harrison Butker at his commencement speech to the students, the graduates at Benedictine College, and created quite a stir with that. Some have said, and paraphrased it, that he was telling women that their degrees were worthless. Others have said, finally someone needs to say it. My daughters Shannon and Sammy have some thoughts about that, so who goes first?
You can go, Shan.
Oh, watch out. Shannon's first.
I don't.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Go.
I don't think he's diminishing in any sense a degree or an education, or he says, congratulations, it's a great accomplishment. It's wonderful. And then he says, but I would venture to guess a lot of you are excited about being, a homemaker and being a wife and being a mom. And it's like, yeah, most women are. And can it be an and thing? I'm excited about my degree, and I'm excited about, I graduated from Mizzou, had a career, did that, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't like in the plan. I was excited to be a mom, and I think most women, are, and then all of a sudden, it was like, well, maybe the career is going to take a back burner while I raise these babies, and I'm a wife right now, and that's. Why can't it be and?
And with technology and remote working, you're able to help your former employees for a while, your employer, and you help us at the office remotely.
And because
doing the business
of my degree I got, I've been able to lead, part of the family readiness group in volunteer work,
for the
special ops support. So to say that my degree, and I don't think he's saying that their education isn't important and valued, it is, but he's also saying that and I think it needs to be said more that in our culture, we are losing that with women to praise and honor that role that is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Truly. And I think he's the respect he gives his wife. Yeah. I mean, we need more men to talk about their wives like that.
And he broke up. That
is so sweet. And I just think he's honoring her.
And it was a Catholic school and a Catholic college.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I think what it sounded like was I tuned into a Catholic sermon on a Sunday morning.
Okay.
So I disagree with what he said for the same reasons I don't go to Catholic Mass or I don't go to Lutheran church anymore. Mm-hmm. So I would say the differentiation is drawn here just simply because I don't agree with his religious beliefs and his pro-life and those types of beliefs. I support his right to have a freedom of speech and say whatever he wants to say within that capacity, and I don't think he should be canceled for having opinions. But I think it's fair that we can disagree with people or agree with people depending on what their opinions are. So my main problem was with this quote, which was, I can tell you that my beautiful wife Isabel would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. That's just personally doesn't relate to me. And I think by saying your life truly begins when you become a wife and a mother, to these women who have just spent tens of thousands of dollars taking out student loans to get these degrees, and they're sitting listening to this man in their commencement speech, it's kind of discounting the fact that these people are not privileged with wealth like this man is and his wife is. So they're going to have to go to work after going to school. They're not going to be able to be stay-at-home homemakers, or else they probably wouldn't have gotten this degree. So I think his stance comes from a position of being able to have the blessing of having a wife as a homemaker wife, because they have the money to do that.
I could see that.
That is a little bit of a different angle. And I also want us to not forget that the reason this man's being canceled is because of Taylor Swift, in my opinion. Her Swifties have drawn a very liberal base to the Chiefs that probably weren't there before. And the reason I think the Chiefs had to make that statement is because they know they have to appease their new fan base, which is now what's bringing them millions of dollars of extra revenue.
The NFL has said he doesn't speak for us, where they've really distanced themselves.
Well, and his jersey is also the top-selling jersey at the moment that the NFL sells. My thing is, like Sam was saying, he has the right to say it. I don't think he should be canceled. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that he said, but the counter movement online of all of these dudes trying to tell women, women can be whatever they want to be. While that's true, like, it's 2024. Can we stop having men tell women what they can and cannot do? Like they're somehow giving us permission to be either homemakers or, a lawyer. Like, we don't need your permission. We already know those things, so you can stop trying to tell us what to do. Thank you.
We
a lot of sports fans out
Pro Tem Senator Caleb Rowden can make all of our days by getting the initiative petition reform across the finish line, and he joins us now. Welcome in, Caleb. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
I'm good. Hey,
I'm just hoping no one gets trampled by the herd of rhinoceroses today.
So it's all over at 6 p.m. tonight. And, I mean, this is your last
Praise
hurrah
God.
as a legislator, right? So could this be the crowning glory, the bow on your on the package that you've delivered for all this great service that you've delivered to the residents of Missouri?
Well, we'll see. We, as anybody who's been paying attention, saw that we spent, I think we maybe hit 50 hours, certainly more than 45, somewhere between 45 and 50 this past week straight, which is why I sound like this. Trying to pass IP reform, we were unsuccessful. We sent it back to the House. The House tried to send it back to us yesterday. I made the executive decision based on the fact that we have, roughly we will have 8 hours of session time left. I don't think we can accomplish something in 8 that we couldn't accomplish in 50. So we sent that bill back to the House. The House has the ability today just to pick up the bill and pass it. The House can do anything they want. I mean, it's a lot harder for the Senate to pass big ticket items. The House has an IP bill in their possession, ready to go. And, I for one, I may be in the minority on this as far as folks on my side. I don't think Missourians need to be tricked with having quote unquote ballot candy in the bill to pass it. I think the idea of a concurrent majority is a good idea. I think it gives rural Missouri and rural voices a louder voice. And I think, in the interest of making sure that if an initiative is going to pass, that both the rural and the urban voices are heard, I think concurrent majority is a good idea. I just don't think we need to put stuff that doesn't matter in there to try to trick them into passing it. There's been folks that have said that the citizen voting thing is necessary. The language in the bill doesn't even preclude, if St. Louis made some sort of local decision that they wanted to allow illegals to vote, the language in SJR 74 doesn't even touch local elections. It only touches statewide elections, which illegals already can't vote in. So most of the things in there are just noise and chaos designed to try to trick voters. I don't think Missourians need to be tricked. I think they're smart enough to do it. So it's my hope that the Senate has no ability to pass IP reform. We have no IP bill in our possession. So it's my hope that the House will pick up and pass the bill today, and I think we can put up a good fight and hopefully pass the bill in August or November.
Senator, you guys dealt with so many different versions of potential IP reform, everything the way it sits now with a simple majority of votes to change the Constitution to various stacked versions of that.
Yeah.
And you've gone through this for several sessions now. What would you like to see in a perfect world? What version come across the finish line?
Yeah, I think the one that the House has, the concurrent majority, which would just simply say that if an IP is going to be successful, it doesn't change the overall threshold, which, as you alluded to, is something that we've contemplated at times. It just says that it has to pass in majority of congressional districts, so 5 out of 8 congressional districts that we have. It has to get 50+1 in 5 out of 8 congressional districts. I think, like I said before, you have our congressional districts splits. We have 2 in Columbia. Kansas City has 1. St. Louis has 1. Springfield has 1. So, I mean, I think getting to that 5th congressional is really important because I think that's going to almost force an IP that would pass to have, a real consensus and really dip into rural Missouri and get rural voters to sign off on anything. But I think it's important for us to remember, based on information that we got, that out of every IP, and I don't remember how far back this stat goes, but it goes back a while. If this concurrent majority had been in place, the only out of all the IPs that have passed, marijuana and you name it, the only one that wouldn't have passed is Medicaid expansion. So which would have been a big one for Republicans. But I think the notion from the left that this is, a game changer and going to dramatically change the chessboard, I think is a little bit out of whack. I just simply think giving rural voters a voice is not a bad idea, and concurrent majority would do that.
Our guest again here is Missouri Senate President Pro Tem Caleb Rowden, who is from Columbia. He joined us live here on News Radio 950 KWS and on 93.9theeagle.com. Obviously, he's made some news just in a couple of comments. He essentially is calling on the House to pass a
simple bill, right?
The Senate version of the bill.
Yeah, the Senate version,
the
right?
Senate version of the bill.
Stripped of all the accessories.
Without the ballot candy. So
I don't need the power windows and the rear view mirror. Just give me.
I mean, we wanted to pass the concurrent majority. The House has concurrent majority, and I am certain that if they bring that thing up, it will pass overwhelmingly.
Okay.
So if I could follow up on that, obviously that would be the Senate version of the bill. Have there been conversations since yesterday with either Speaker Plocher and or Pro Tem Henderson about today?
We have not. I've not talked to them since. We talked to them yesterday morning. I haven't talked to them since then. But I think it was a calculation on our part that my assumption is if we accepted that message yesterday, given how contentious and how problematic it was for us to even get to the point where we're 50 hours in, no light at the end of the tunnel, etc. I can't imagine that 8 hours does what 50 hours couldn't, and so accepting that message was effectively the death nail in IP. And as someone who would like to see it succeed, I think sending it back to the House without the power windows, as Randy said, but still a very functional product, we decided was the right thing to give it the chance to pass.
Caleb, what could our audience do? What can listeners do? It's a quite active audience, very engaged in the process and in this issue, among others. Is there anything that they can do? Would flooding the House chamber with calls, the House offices, would that make a difference today? What can be done?
Well, I think it couldn't hurt. I think I think having IP, I for one am less convinced that even if we have IP on an August ballot, which is not a certainty, but if we do, I've heard both cases made that if it passes in August, anything that's on November, which almost certainly the abortion IP will be, would be able to sue and potentially say, hey, we started this process under the old regime and we should get to finish the process. So it's not, I don't think it's a sure thing that even if this thing is on the August ballot, it gets in front of the abortion IP. Certainly if they're both on the same ballot, they won't do that. So, I think calling folks and saying, hey, look, this is the chance we've got. And to the extent you want to take the chance, it's not a sure thing that IP passes on the ballot. There will be, as everybody knows, a host of money, boatloads of money spent against it by left-leaning interests and a whole host of other folks. So, I think letting them know, hey, this is the option, this is the thing before us, and taking it one step further, your audience is engaged and knows what's going on, and they don't need the frills, they don't need the excess stuff, they don't need the things put in there that functionally don't do anything. They don't achieve the objectives that some folks were saying they were trying to achieve. And so let's get it out of there. Let's pass a clean bill, and let's go educate folks as to why it's necessary, as well as making sure that those same folks are going out and voting against the abortion IP in November. You can have a good cross-section of folks that are aimed at those two things. I think there's a ton of overlap between folks who would want to vote yes on IP and vote no on the abortion IP. So, let's get that thing on the ballot and let's mobilize folks to make both of those things happen. And
irrespective of whether or not this would apply, say IP reform did pass, and whether it would or wouldn't apply to the abortion issue, I think to most objective observers and common sense people, it widens the tent of influence of voters in Missouri to actually have a voice in up the road, constitutional amendment proposals. So I think for most of us, it just seems the right thing to do. It shouldn't be so easy to wrest a lot of what should be legislative control out of the legislature. We've seen that happen over and over again. So what's happening in Senator Caleb Rowden's life after the contentious, couple weeks you've had in leadership,
or contentious 8 years?
Yeah. I know.
No, I mean, we're going to take some time, and I'm going to play some golf and hang out with my friends and hang out with my family, and my wife and I both own small businesses here in town, and maybe there's some other opportunities that exist. We're not in any rush to figure out what the next thing is. I'm incredibly humbled and honored to have been able to do what I've done for the last 8 years, but I think I'm ready to get out, and I'm going to probably I'll miss parts of it, maybe not miss other parts of it, but it's been really, really cool to be a part of a lot of successes, both for my home community and for kind of the conservative cause as a whole. So I'm going out with my head held high and feel really privileged to have been a part of some really great moments.
Well, perhaps, I know maybe Jill Schluty or, Sheriff Carey or, Eric Wilde or whoever might need a hostage negotiator. I think you'd be well suited for that.
No, earlier off air this week, we were having a conversation about weird things that we have to do to focus. Okay.
Focus. Yes.
I tell you all the time, I whine that I'm too nosy to be sitting next to the break room. My desk is right next to the break room. I'm easily distracted. We listen to the police scanner overhead. My brain gets all jumbled. It's a mess. And I shared with you guys that I enjoy listening to like white noise.
You did.
And pink noise and brown noise. Yeah. Those are, my three favorites. And it's basically just background noise to drown out the talking and all the other noises around me, right? I go to sleep like that sometimes, like a baby. And some people think that's really weird that I just have like a droning. Yes.
And I commented to you that it reminded me, one of the noises you played reminded me of Shannon's. We've got the granddaughters over, and she has this machine that makes noise.
Yeah.
For the baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I listen to that while I'm doing my work because it helps me focus.
Okay.
Because it's sound, but it's basically nothing. Mm-hmm. But Randy, you did something really weird yesterday to help you focus.
Yeah, I do it a lot.
Oh, so you did see this post.
I didn't see the post, but I was afraid you were going to post something. What did you post?
If you tuned into the Wake Up in Missouri live video feed on the Facebook page or on our YouTube channel, early, you would have seen Randy sitting in the dark like a vampire with the glow of the computer screen illuminating his face. Mm-hmm. And so I took a screenshot and I asked the Wake Up fam, what's something weird that helps you focus? Because Randy, you were telling me that being like working in the dark helps you focus.
I do that at the office. I have just a little tiny desk lamp and that's it. All the lights are out and I can focus that way. Yeah.
Well, we have folks like Ben who disagree with your tactic. He said, definitely not a dark room first thing in the morning. That's a surefire recipe for falling back asleep again. John, do you do anything weird to help you focus, or you just used to it?
I'm kind of the other way around. If there's not a lot of commotion and ABC 17 and Fox and all up in the background running, I feel like I'm being left out.
Yeah.
So by multitasking, that's your multitasking focus tool. Yeah, let's see.
I know when I was in school, if I needed to focus in on doing homework, sometimes like the instrumental movie soundtracks would help me because there were no words or anything. So it was just like the orchestra because I'm such a nerd.
I actually think Dad, Randy, creates his own white noise with his
the humming.
We call it whistle humming.
When he's focusing, I think his nurses and people who have operated with him before say he does it even when he's like in a really in-depth surgery. He's doing his little whistle noises.
And he also drums on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can or cannot confirm that Stephanie Bell loves.
Oh. I can tell.
As long as he doesn't bring the trombone into the operating suite, it's good.
But for anyone who doesn't know what pink noise is, here's a little sound sample. It's beautiful.
You love that, huh?
It almost sounds like rain.
Is brown noise like the toilet flushing?
Sounds like we're at low power or something.
Yeah, it's just like a slightly different frequency. And then white noise is a different frequency. It's so if I 9 times out of 10, if I have my headphones on while I'm sitting at my desk, if I'm not editing audio, I'm listening to that droning noise in my ears because that's the only way I can get anything done.
Oh, man. When we come back, we've had a lot. at Columbia College, and the organizer of that event, Rob Boone, who himself is a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army and the associate vice president of strategic partnerships at Columbia College, joins us now. Rob, thank you for being with us, and thank you for your service.
Hey, good morning, Randy. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing great. Hey, this sounds to be an exciting event. I mean, I'm going to, my daughter's in town from Fort Liberty, and got the granddaughters there. I think we may head out and take advantage of this event. When is it? Where is it? What's going on?
So Columbia College, as you know, is a military-friendly school. We've been in partnerships with the military for 50 years, and we celebrated that last year. We're on locations on military installations all across the United States, and so as our continued commitment to the military, we do Military Appreciation Month, which was actually legislation that the late Senator McCain had put together. And so Columbia College on May 1st celebrates Loyalty Day, and we have our members of faculty and staff come down and write on the board what loyalty means to them, or post a video about what loyalty is, because loyalty is something very important in the military, and so we really champion that. And then on May 7th, we do Public Service Recognition Day, because we have a lot of public servants who actually support the military, and they're very important for us to be able to do our job. And then you have your Legacy, Victory in Europe Day that commemorates World War II victory. And then we are also a champion of military spouses. We're the number 4 most military-friendly spouse in our category. So we understand the importance of military spouses and what they go through. And I know Shannon's probably biting her teeth, cannot wait for her husband to graduate. And so that's awesome. It's going to be an awesome event. And then we have Military Appreciation Day, which is we're bringing a guest speaker from the All Secure Foundation, Tom and Jen Satterley. Tom spent 20 years in Delta Force. He was commemorated he was actually portrayed in Black Hawk Down, and he also captured Saddam Hussein.
Whoa.
But, when you look at a special operator, you think they're tough guys, and they are, and they're some of the most physically fit and elite people in the military, but he also had suffered from possibly trying to commit suicide, and so he has his own things he's been dealing with. So he and Jen actually go out to all the other installations and talk to current active duty special operators and also retired and former veterans and help them with post-traumatic stress disorder. They do retreats, they do counseling. And so we're bringing him in today to tell his story. Really a different thing we've never done before. We're really sitting down and listening to his, but we also are listening to the military spouse side. And that's a really important piece to it, is really listening to the spouse and the families. I've been married for over 20 years. My wife, the last 10 years of my career is when I was married in the military. So my kids were little. They really didn't understand really what Dad did. And so we will celebrate that today. It starts at 11 o'clock. We were originally going to do it outside, but you know how Missouri weather, you can have 4 seasons in one day. We made the decision to put it inside. So it's going to be in Bass Commons. It's going to be in Atkins Holman, which is next to Missouri Hall. And so it's easy to find. There's signage. You can park at the Rogers parking lot or anywhere else on campus and walk over there. But we'll start at 11 o'clock. There'll be food trucks. You come in, get a food truck ticket, sit down, mingle with everyone, and then at about 11:30 is when we'll start the formal portion of the event. And then just want to also talk about on May 29th is the Boone County Memorial Day ceremony we do too as well. So we partner with Military Officer Association of America Mid-Mo chapter, and we will actually lay a wreath. I encourage people to come out and remember those in Boone County who've paid the final sacrifice, and all those soldiers as well. It's 9 o'clock, short ceremony, but I really encourage people to come out. It's a really good ceremony. And so that's kind of what we do. I know that's down and dirty, but there's a lot of things I can talk about on what we do with the military in general when it comes to education.
This is a tremendous event, and I think that the angle of the military spouse and how important on the one hand and how underappreciated they are. I'm going to brag on daughter Shannon. She led the Special Forces Support Group. What's it called?
FRG.
Yeah.
FRG, yeah.
SRG, and she won an award. She got an award there recently for her leadership. And I know one after another fundraiser she was doing, and you publish a newsletter to support them as well. And I know that goes on across the country, across all the services. And it's not unique to just the Army, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great thing. And Jen Satterley, Tom's wife, I guess, is an award-winning filmmaker and photographer as well, right?
Absolutely, she is. And one of the things that she noticed when she was filming SEALs and and Green Berets and Rangers, and she kind of noticed some trends that were kind of similar to what her husband was going through with depression and some anger and some other things. And when you are overseas and you're deployed, you're always moving, you're always ready to go, and sometimes it's hard to power down. And then when I got back from my first tour in Iraq, I got angry real easy and I got frustrated real easy. So I had my own internal things I had to deal with too as well. And the military's gotten a lot better when it comes to that. During the initial stages of Afghanistan and Iraq, we were not doing a good job of reintegrating our service members back with our families because it was just a different type of environment that we were dealing in, where it was a constant, persistent conflict. The chances of getting mortared or ambushed was just a lot more high intensity. So it's different than World War II in Korea and Vietnam. And so we have learned a lot of lessons and we've gotten a lot better. And yeah, the family support group is a very important group. It's a very important element of the military. So I applaud Shannon for being very involved in that as well.
I'll be over there today for the ceremony. I think you and I were together back on Veterans Day or near Veterans Day.
I look forward to seeing you again.
Looking forward to seeing you. And what stuck out to me that day, and I'd like you to elaborate on it, on Veterans Day, and I'm sure it'll be the same today, there were so many students, and their professors let them leave class, and they went there. Some of them were veterans, some of them were not, but they were there. I mean, dozens and dozens were there. Do you expect that today, or are some of the students still there, or some of them gone?
The students are gone for the summer. We graduated in April, so there might be a few that show up, but this will be a lot of faculty and staff, and we've invited a lot of people from the community. Kip Kendrick said he'll be there, so I'm looking forward to see Kip, who's a Columbia College graduate. We have Colonel retired Paul Kirchhoff, who's the Missouri Veterans Commission executive director, said he was going to come. So we're going to have some community members there, which we're real excited about having them as part of this. Really, what we want to do is we want to set the standard for events. We want to have events that people want to come to, and be at Columbia College and really learn some things. So I have some other things lined up for Veterans Day. I won't tell you yet, but once I get those things, once I get that thing going, I'll loop you guys in because we really want to be the premier college on veterans and issues and really getting the word out there and bringing the community together around our military and veterans in Columbia College.
Lieutenant Colonel Rob Boone won't tell us yet what's going on. Sounds like a little psyops going on there. I don't know. We call it a tease in Radio Land.
That's right.
Hey, but by the way, in the communication that communications director Sam Fleury sent me, for those who can't attend in person, it's going to be live streamed. Is that true?
That is correct. Absolutely. Okay. You can watch it from your home.
How do people access that?
I'll get you the information on that.
Okay.
But I'll find that out. I'll get with Sam here shortly after this.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking here. Maybe I've got it on. Yeah, I don't think I have it. But yeah, if you get that, text it to us, and we'll get probably the college website. I would guess. But we'll get that out there before the show's over.
Well, if Sam's doing his job, he's listening right now. So
he's listening, yes.
And he probably said it to me once in a while. They claim that I'm a little distractible, so I may have missed it. I don't know.
Understatement.
Hey, but this is a fabulous event. I don't know how many people really knew all of the great military involvement that Columbia College has. And like you said, not just here in Columbia, but across the nation. So, Lieutenant Rob Boone, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate that. And you dropped off a little something to help warm our hearts. So tears were flowing here. I can't. You'll understand why I can't show it on air because there's some privacy issues that involve in terms of outing people. So
there's no crying in radio, Randy. Remember that? Right?
No,
there's crying.
When you have two pregnant daughters co-hosting with you, that's a little bit different.
Right. Yeah.
And when
there were a lot of tears here, and Glenn Beck's got nothing on me when it comes to crying on radio. So
hey Hannah, it warms my heart every Friday when you remember everyone to wear red. So keep on doing that, and I appreciate that. I love listening to it on the way into work.
I hope it's okay.
Well, thank you.
I hope if I wear my RED, remember, here's my dad.
Yeah, I'm just glad we finally got Randy some actual red.
Can I wear? Will that be within the dress attire today? Rob,
absolutely.
All right.
Just shirts required, Randy.
All right. Yeah. No, you don't. No, you do not want that visual. That would be it. All right. Hey, thanks a lot, Rob. We appreciate it. Good luck on the event today.
You. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
There he is. Lieutenant Colonel retired Rob Boone, United States Army. He's got quite a resume himself. Something else.
I think it's cool too. He talks about operators, and the Satterleys are a really good representation of this. The Delta Force guys and any operator, any military guy, you think they're tough guys, and they are. They're physically tough guys, but let me tell you, they are some of the softest guys.
Can I follow up?
And they really the Satterleys especially talk about that. It is a struggle because while they're tough physically, they are also some of the most sensitive soft guys.
And I will tell a little story here. Several years ago, before he was in the final stages of training here, we were at the farm, and he was there with us, her husband, and I had had a really rough day at the hospital, both administratively and patient-wise. It was just a long, tough, busy day. And I went out and just got in the hot tub. The whole family was there, and I'm in the hot tub. He comes out, little jigger of scotch in a rocks glass, and says, "Yeah, I get the sense you might need this," and just walked out. That was it. And I hadn't said anything. But that's the sixth sense and the seventh sense that I think these guys have, and that's what makes them special folks.
Yeah, I think too, getting out to this event and seeing him talk, this guy, he's him and his wife have.
He's a real icon there.
He's been through it, literally. I mean, and if you can get out and see it, they show a different side of operators and stuff because it is.
I think it's going to be amazing. I think one thing I wasn't aware that they had moved it inside. Where is that in the? Is that where they play the basketball?
I
was confused a little bit on the location there.
I think if we just get on campus and there'll probably be signage
we'll
there.
find it, I guess. Wherever it is, you'll look for American flags as well.
John, what's coming up on your segment?
Well, how about a certain congressman getting out the old ball gown and preface it by saying yes? Santos, of course, a Republican who was ousted from Congress in December, said on X that he would create his Cameo account for his drag alter ego, Katara Ravache, for a limited time. His post said, "Y'all weren't ready for this drop. I've decided to bring Katara out of the closet after 18 years. He personalized videos on Cameo. That's a platform where fans pay celebs to record short custom videos, $3.50 a piece.
Oh.
Wow.
Whoa.
2023, a Brazilian drag queen, Eula Rochard, shared a photo on social media of herself and a drag performer whom she referred to by the stage name of Katara and said it was in fact Santos. They came out when Santos was in that New York Times investigation, whether he falsified, everything under the sun, education, work, and all. We cannot confirm a story that's been making the rounds that Columbia Public Schools may now offer Santos a staff position in their DEI studies program this fall.
Jonathan.
So now, we can't confirm that. So now you know the rest of that story.
Oh, my goodness.
There it is.
Well, we've told it used to be sort of something that when guys dressed up in drag, comedians, I think of Milton Berle, some of the old comedians, it was a hoot. It was hilarious. Remember at one of your dance recitals when the guys wore tutus and
you were in a tutu, you were in the full.
Oh boy, just wait till the photo surfaces of Dad dressed in tutus.
Oh, he was such a good sport. He
wasn't wearing tights, was he?
No,
I don't think we had tights.
I don't know. He really committed. The dads were really into the girls'
The guys really got into it.
I think last week there was up where we live in North Carolina. It was a little disturbing. The local brewery had a Disney princess drag queen reading for children. Oh. All the Disney princesses were drag queens, and all the kids came and sat and listened. And I couldn't. In a military community, you would think it wouldn't be popular, but the photos I saw, it's just sad. You see the kids sitting there listening to Little Mermaid drag queen reading a book, and I just.
And was this an on base thing?
No,
no,
Lord, no. But it's just to think to start that
tell.
Young, man.
So that wasn't the real Ariel.
Not the real one.
John Chris says, John, winner of the month. By the way, winners and losers come up at 8:35. Paul says Benny Hill made good use of drag. Oh, he was great at that. Benny Hill was excellent at that. Who else was good at that? I can't remember. But there's
Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The most famous drag performance of all, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, there you go.
And there was the remember the Julie Andrews Victoria, where it went the other way, right? She was put on as a guy. She had the top hat and the mustache and everything. An old movie
Must
called
be before our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All of these references to culture ages us, doesn't it, John? The older
I think
culture.
you're right.
Yeah.
Among other things.
So, I think we should be laughing at it, and just in terms of it is not, as Harrison Butker said, it's not a part of the order. It's part of the disorder.
Yeah.
And but I guess maybe people who really do have genuine gender dysphoria, it does exist. There is a small minority of people. But what are they reporting in high schools? Is it like up to 20 or 30% of high school girls these days, young, maybe middle school and high schoolers, are claiming that they want to be someone else?
It is a mental illness, and we need to call it as such, not a trend.
And
right?
they're doing that across the pond.
It is.
Yeah.
I think we should treat gender dysphoria as a mental illness, certainly. But I don't think homosexuality is a mental illness. There's a clear line. And the lines often can be blurred between people being attracted to the attracted to the same sex versus wanting to be the opposite sex. I don't know why they're being blurred, but the mental illness aspect of the transgenderism, I think, is clear. But I don't know why we have to loop homosexuality into that.
Although
I think a lot of times it's involved in the same discussion.
There was a time when you were in high school, though. Well, was it high school or middle school? Where, in some of the little north of our listening area, 20% of the girls claimed that they were homosexual.
Yeah.
Which that's just...
It's a phase.
That's not true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dr. Rob Boone out of Columbia College. They're going to do a military recognition day today. My daughters Shannon and Sammy are in for Stephanie Bell, who will be back on Monday, who she may have some FOMO if Caleb Rowden is able to somehow, along with the House, get a concurrent majority and pass that IP reform issue. He was with us earlier. If you didn't get to hear it, check out the feed, the archive on Facebook, or later the podcast. That was quite an interview. And now we celebrate National Police Week, and we want to honor and welcome into the studio. Wake Up Mid-Missouri this morning welcomes Eric Wilde, who's the chief of police at Jefferson City. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing just great. How are you doing, Randy?
I'm great. Hey, thank you for all you do, and please send our thanks and gratitude to all of your officers and all of your support people as well, right? I mean, it takes more than a village to do law enforcement, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does, and I've said this a million times since becoming chief. I'm so fortunate to do this job here in Jefferson City because the community is so supportive. There's not a day goes by that there's not some sort of thank you note or extra food dropped off. So we feel the love, and I keep telling our officers they just got to keep doing a great job to keep that reputation alive.
Chief, talk to us about your staff and all. I mean, and props to our friend and former coworker, Sergeant Steve Dappin, who announced his retirement from your department. But talk about the rank and file, and especially those folks at the supervisory level in the chain of command, and what that means to you working with your newer guys and gals.
Well, and I think you probably heard we had an awards banquet last night, and I gave out several 20-year awards. It's people that have been with the department for over 20 years. And that means a ton to be able to retain those folks for that long because of the knowledge that they bring. We have been hiring a lot of new young officers in the last couple of years, but to have that knowledge base there and have them pass that on to the new officers every day is you can't underestimate how important that is. Especially in this line of work, it's an ever-changing world that we're in, and having that knowledge base that they've got is just I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Let me ask you a question about recruiting and retention. With all that went on with all of the conflagration and the denigration of police officers across the country in 2020 with the riots, and public officials just saying horrific, embarrassingly for them, disrespectful thing of the police. We see the way they're being treated on college campuses, and I know you guys are tough, and you're trained to have sharp elbows and take that kind of stuff. But recruiting went down and numbers were down. I heard the other day, I was talking with Betsy Brantner Smith from the National Police Officers Association, and she said there's some hope. There's in certain jurisdictions there's some resurgence of applications. What are you seeing in Jefferson City?
I would say overall our applications are still pretty low, and that's just compared to where it was whenever I came in. Back in the late 90s, it would be a couple hundred applicants for one position. Now you have 5 positions and a couple of applicants here and there. So I think just overall there's a lack of interest in the line of work, and my stance is we've really got to steal that message back, that law enforcement is an honorable profession. It's very rewarding. And it's something that young folks should strive to do. It's a service-oriented line of work, and protecting your community is one of the most noble things you can do, in my opinion. So we're going to do all we can to steal that narrative back. During all of that, the media downplaying of police officers and such, a lot of our officers did get down, and I had to walk around the halls and say, turn off the news and realize where you're at. You're in Jefferson City. You're not, this community still supports us 100%. So you really got to just change the message, get it to the local level, and go from there.
Chief, it's great to have you with us. I was there with you last night. 425, you heard me correctly, folks, 425 people were at the Jefferson City Event Center for the event, and you had 24 officers, detectives, captains, sergeants, lieutenants, and communication supervisors honored last night for more than 20 years of service. There were so many there that they literally spread across the room. What sticks out to you as you looked at those men and women in front of you and those 20 years of service, Chief?
Their dedication. Honestly, that's over 20 years of working rotating shifts. That's over 20 years of missing events with their families, holidays, sporting events, and that's over 20 years of just being out there putting your life on the line. So their dedication to this community for doing it for that long is just, it speaks to their character, it speaks to their dedication, and I couldn't be more proud to lead a team of individuals than I am right now.
Eric, I've got a question for you. This is Shannon. As a military spouse and someone that totally appreciates your service, first, I just want to say thank you for your sacrifice and everyone on your force. But we live in North Carolina, and I see, I'm on Facebook and see the Facebook posts and all the news about the homeless issue here in Columbia and Jeff City. We don't really have that issue where we're at. I don't see it where we are. Now, maybe we're a military community and that's why. But what is being done about that, and what is the status of that? And can you update us on that?
Sure. Yeah, and this has been a big topic of discussion in Jeff City lately. I just think it's people are becoming more aware of our homeless population. It has increased a bit since I've been a police officer here. So our approach is this. It's really kind of a two-pronged approach. I've created a position at the department called our Community Resource Officer, and we're going out doing, outreach to anybody with any sort of mental health issues, substance abuse issues. I don't care if they're homeless or if they have a home. We're trying to get them lined up with the resources that they need to get back on their feet before they commit a crime or become the victim of a crime. Mental health sometimes will cause you to commit crimes, but also you can become a victim of a crime. So we're doing a lot of outreach, trying to get people lined up with resources, and a lot of that does fall within the homeless community. But the other approach is that Jefferson City is very much a law and order town, and people aren't going to tolerate a lot of the, crimes that go along with being homeless. The drinking in public, the public urination, trespassing, ordering, littering, that sort of thing. So we're going to give you an opportunity to get help, but we're also not going to shy away from enforcing the law. We have a responsibility to keep our city and community beautiful and welcoming. So that's sort of our two-pronged approach, and we've been pretty successful with both, I think. But I think nationwide, the homelessness issue is something that's going to have to be addressed from a much higher level. And it's going to be a challenge for a bit, I think.
No, I think that's honorable. Recognizing the mental illness piece, because I think that's the root of it, right? A lot of it. Do you as an outsider? I mean, I'm went to school here, not fully an outsider, but it's been away. Why here? Why is it so? Does it seem to be, and maybe it's not really? What is drawing them here, or why? Do they have more resources to stay here? The
funny thing is our community action team is out every day, and they're asking people why here, and there's really not an answer to that sometimes. Yeah. We've come across people from outstate, state of Washington, state of Oklahoma, Florida, and I think it's just kind of a lifestyle, I guess, that the homeless population, they just wander, and they settle here for a while, and then they'll move on, and then we'll get a new one in here and there. So I wish I knew I had a better answer for why Jefferson City, but I guess it's really not something that's unique to Jefferson City. It's going on all across the nation.
Yeah, I'd point out something too, Chief, and to Randy. Shannon's very good questions. And it's in Columbia, so it's just something I observed. But the Jesse Williams trial focused almost entirely on this man that was convicted was apparently homeless, and the victim may have been homeless at one time. And the two top prosecution witnesses at the beginning of the trial were homeless, and the prosecutor asked him, "What brought you both to? Or are you from Columbia?" And the one gentleman said, "No, I'm from Arkansas." And the other lady said that they're from North Carolina. And he came here. He said, "Well, how'd you end up here?" And the guy said, "Well, I just got out of prison, and he's moved back here a couple times. The lady went to North Carolina, and then I think California, ended up here, but they never really explained why they ended up here. So that really kind of verifies with what the chief said, as far as we really don't know how they end up here.
But what do you think, though, in terms of just, policy issues? It seems to me that while we have to be humane with people, we also have to strike a balance with, law and order and civil behavior, right? And the impact that it has, if it is uncivil behavior, on businesses and residents in the city. You don't want to be a magnet for the whole movement. That's for
right.
sure.
And that's precisely the approach we're taking. People paint the homelessness issue, and it is a broad issue, but it really has to be dealt with at the singular level. Most of the people that are in that situation have differing issues that are making them that way. Some of it is mental health. Some of it is addiction. Some of it is choice. Some people just enjoy that lifestyle. So although it's a big issue, it almost has to be granular in how you approach it, because each individual in that situation has different challenges.
Yeah. Well, I know that's just yet another challenge that you face and your officers. So we again want to thank you, Chief Wilde, for all you do. And by the way, thanks for your service. You're a National Guardsman, I guess. John's informing me here.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah,
right?
I spent around 30 years in the Missouri Army National Guard and retired just prior to becoming chief. So I guess that was a great decision. It would have been awful busy to do both.
Well, Shannon's hubby is a National Guardsman.
Yeah, he was with Missouri Guard. Now we're out of the Texas Guard. So we appreciate that. That's people that don't recognize the Guardsman sacrifice. So that's
you certainly get a different view of your hometown whenever you get to spend some time overseas. I did deploy, to Iraq in 2003 and Kuwait in 2012, and then again to Jordan in 2018. So it brings a real appreciation for your hometown community, whenever you spend some time overseas and seen the alternatives. So.
Well, whether people are civilians or maybe soldiers, when they come home to America, I've seen people kiss the ground. Yeah. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
And I think
grass of home.
Yeah, for all of the problems that this country has, and it's very worst, we're the greatest country this planet's ever seen. So we thank you. If everybody
understood that, we'd be in a great place.
Yep. Well, we thank you for your service both nationally and, of course, locally here in Jefferson City. And pass the good words along from us and everyone listening to your troops, okay? and losers segment as we continue on this Feel Good Friday. Daughters Sammy and Shannon are in for Stephanie. She'll be back on Monday. Anxious to hear. She always has great stories from wherever she's been, so we'll talk about that with her on Monday. Let's move to winners and losers. Who wants to go first? Let's see. Shannon, you're up first.
Me?
Yep.
Okay.
We have a joint winner.
We have a joint winner.
A joint winner. Oh, you guys have a joint winner. Okay.
And it's you.
Two.
Aww.
Oh, why is that? I don't deserve to be winner. Why?
So a lot of people don't know. Dad, he wears a lot of hats. He's radio guy in the morning, then he's doctor, but throughout the day, he's also dad, grandpa, son, husband. And he knocks it out of the park. He's an awesome grandpa.
Well, that's very kind of you.
No, I'm going to get emotional.
Me too.
We're fortunate.
You can cash the check later on.
No, he really, it's hard. He wears a lot of hats and he's got pressure and he's worked his butt off to get where he is. He came from his dad worked really hard, but we've grown up seeing him, and my mom build a traditional all-American family, and here we are expanding it, and we look at the root, and it's him.
Well, thank you so very
and my
much.
mom, and so we're
sweet
we're
of you.
proud of you,
so
and think
sweet.
you're really taking life by storm here.
And it tickles me that both my daughters are pregnant at the same time in the studio with me. How cool is that? I mean, it doesn't get better than
Your
that.
number of grandchildren is doubling
Yeah.
in 2024.
Yeah.
Well, heck, Doc, that's job security.
That's right.
There you go. There you go.
Then my loser
thank you.
is so this weekend we went to Tennessee, and there was a lot of adults there that witnessed my daughter fall off a little retaining wall. And that was Saturday. And we all said, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine." And she wouldn't use her hand at all. And so the loser would be potentially myself and all the other adults in the room, because finally took her to the urgent care 4 days later. And it's broken. Yeah.
She's tough.
She had a non-displaced fracture. It was funny because she's a tough kid.
She's going to hold that against you for the rest of her.
She's a really tough kid, and there was no swelling, no bruising or anything. Yeah. And I thought it was just a sprain. Of course, we weren't anywhere near civilization and anything. So I noticed she wasn't using it as much. So then you took her in, and it's a non-displaced little fracture of the radius.
Fracture. Yeah, and we felt pretty bad, but we were toughing her up. Yeah, I mean, in this day and age.
And she's a wild. That's a wild child. I mean, that girl is full of energy.
It's not the last break.
No.
Yeah, she is going to grow up, and anytime she's mad at you, she's gonna be like, "Well, remember that time I broke my arm and you didn't believe me?"
Everyone ignored me.
Yeah.
So Dad was our joint winner. My loser is the cicadas, not for the traditional reason that everyone just hates them as a nuisance. My dog won't stop eating them.
Oh, yep.
I'm having a real problem. So if anyone listeing can recommend a solution for that, he's throwing up on a daily basis whole undigested cicadas. So I'd like a way to remedy that. So that's my loser.
He's been listening to too many of John Marsh's segments.
Yeah, we had some pretty good recipes where you could fry them up. Maybe they'd be a little softer for his
maybe
digestive
just
tract.
get him a side of ranch. Dip
he'll need some dip. They go down easier.
Brian, you have winners and losers?
I've got a couple of winners here. Last night, there were 3 Jefferson City police officers, 2 officers and 1 sergeant that received the Medal of Honor. John Kemper, the sergeant, Dawson Payne, and Daniel Irvine. And just, I don't have time to go into all the details, but they ran into a scene, 2 quote-unquote opposing groups shooting at each other in Jefferson City, bullets flying over their heads, hitting buildings, and they made 4 arrests, recovered a bunch of handguns. They received the Medal of Honor, put their lives at risk by running and literally bullets over their heads. So they're one of my winners of the week. We had 24 20-year service award winners in Jefferson City. I'll have a story up over the weekend of the officers, and I'll name all of them in the story. And last but not least, our mayor of Jefferson City, Ron Fitzwater. I was the MC last night, and it was an honor in the banquet hall, the Jeff City Banquet Center. My doctor's listening. He's telling me to cut down on my sugar, but they had the most amazing meal. And I had
lots of donuts.
They had brownies, but I had steak, chicken. Oh my God! And it was
so you balanced it out with protein.
I did. I ate 2 servings of green beans. So
were there any hot dogs and macaroni?
I didn't see any hot dogs,
No,
okay. But it was incredible. So to the staff. But yes, I heard numerous comments about the food last night. But a great event. Congrats to all.
And no losers this week.
No losers. No losers.
That's your pattern. You tend to be happy pants, Brian. There you go. Not happy Speedo, Brian, but happy pants. Okay,
true.
John, who's on your list?
Well, I've got, I guess, a group of losers and a couple of winners. And I think the losers may be Missouri's taxpayers because of the filibusters and all the mess in the Missouri Senate this year, where some important legislative work didn't get done. And the folks who pay the bills end up getting left with a check, I guess, on that one. So we'll call that the losers. And over at Elias Catholic High School, a couple of winners, the same family. Longtime baseball coach Chris Wyrick, going to hang around and coach some girls sports, but hanging up the manager job for the Seder baseball team. And his son, Sam Wyrick, outstanding ball player for his whole career over at Elias, and recipient of the KWS Scholarship Award this year, going on to play college ball at UCM in Warrensburg.
Hey, that's cool.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Great.
Hannah, who's on your winners and losers nominees?
I am. Is it too self-indulgent to call myself a winner of the week because of what I get to do this weekend?
No,
I get to go see my baby nephew, who I haven't seen since Thanksgiving. Get to hang out with my brother and my sister-in-law, so I'm excited for that. Winner of the week, also Harrison Butker, because his jersey is the top-selling NFL jersey right now. So congratulations to him. And another winner of the week, Taylor Swift. Not for anything related to Harrison Butker, but she is doing her Eras tour in Paris this week. It's relaunched. She took a little break there for a couple months. And she's already incorporated lots of performances from the new album that have been really fun to see online. Travis Kelce has been at some of the shows, which has been fun. So shout out to Taylor for just being a boss, you know what. Queen, my loser of the week is, let's see, anyone who's trying to cancel Harrison Butker, I guess, just for expressing his opinion and his faith. Even if you don't agree with what he said, you should support that he has the right to say that.
All right. So, look, I think Harrison Butker is a winner. And it's not as much, I happen to personally think his content was, I don't know, it was traditional. It was sort of, I resonate with that. Yeah. But it was more about his courage. He knew he was going to take some heat for that. I'm sure he did. And he didn't care.
He said it, and he knew. He saw the camera.
And I think I give him credit for the courage. And I guess the mirror and loser image of that is the NFL. They are the other side of that. They are losers. The NFL made a statement saying this: Harrison Butker gave a speech in his personal capacity. This is the senior vice president of the NFL, chief diversity and inclusion officer. And he said his views are not those of the NFL as an organization. So apparently the NFL does not agree that, homemaking is a noble pursuit.
Well, I would hope that the NFL would make that statement even if, his views aligned with the left.
Well, but
they don't, but you would hope that they would.
To me, the way I read this is they don't agree with that.
Correct.
The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger. But I read this as they really don't want to include traditional views represented by Harrison Butker, and shame on them. I saw several tweets and others that said, I haven't watched a game in 4 years, and I'm going to continue not to watch a game. I have other winners. That includes the police officers.
Yes.
The police officers in all of our local jurisdictions. Thank you so very much for all you do. And by extension, the families who support you. Okay, so we need to make sure and recommend. And here's, for all the legislators listening, Caleb Rowden said that he holds out hope that a concurrent majority can pass a stripped-down, simple, plain IP reform bill. So I'm going to give you contingent winner or contingent loser, depending on what you do.
There you go.
And we'll adjudicate that on Monday.
That'll be interesting.
Well, and that means
hedging your bets.
of you. All of you.
It's that obviously.
to cover, but we got to get to the Gary Nolan show right after we're done. A lot of great events happening around our area. Talk about a community supporting great causes. Joining us now is Ryan Benedict with the Columbia Stair Climb, the 9/11 Stair Climb, which is happening here in just a couple weeks. So welcome to Wake Up Mid-Missouri, Ryan.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, tell us about the history of the Stair Climb, when it is this year, and how people can participate.
So the 9/11 Stair Climb is an organization that got together we held our inaugural climb in 2018. It's where first responders and people from the community get together, and we climb 110 flights of stairs in honor of the first responders lost on 9/11.
Okay. How long has it been in operation?
Since 2018.
2018, all right. So this is like the sixth...
Or excuse me, 2017 was our first
So this will
climb.
be the seventh year then, huh?
Yeah.
And
it'll be our eighth climb.
Oh, the eighth climb, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited. I will not be climbing the stairs, but we're going to be hanging out there Saturday, June 1st.
I think Hannah's volunteering for us that day, and she's going to be there to support.
So it's Saturday?
Support from the ground.
Saturday, June 1st. Who can participate?
So anybody can participate. This started a long time ago with a group of firefighters, and they do them all over the country. We're one of 14 climbs that are sanctioned by the Association of Memorial Stair Climbs, but it started out with a group of first responders that wanted to get together and do it, and it's grown now into a lot bigger than that. Where last year we had hundreds of people. I think there were almost 300 people that climbed. This year it looks like it's going to be even bigger.
Wow.
A lot of first responders. Columbia Fire Department shows in good numbers. Boone County Fire District shows from St. Louis, Kansas City, and then a lot of members of the community also come out and climb.
That's great.
Well, and if you want to climb and still want to attend the event, folks can come hang out and support, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to climb to be a part of showing the support. There's a big opening ceremony down on the football field. And then what I actually wanted to bring up here was we have a dinner the night before. Do we have time to talk about that?
Sure,
real fast?
absolutely, please.
So for those of you that are not really interested in the climbing 110 flights of stairs with the rest of us, that's totally fine. There's another way to come and show your support. We actually have a 9/11 tribute dinner where we all get together. It'll be at the Columbia Country Club May 31st, so the night before the climb, where we are going to get together and have a great evening. The most exciting thing about this year, though, is our guest speaker and who we're flying in. Joe Torillo was a lieutenant with the FDNY, who was a part of the Life Safety Division. He was on his way to a press conference that morning in Manhattan because they had molded a action figure doll at one of the toy shops for him, and they were going to release it on 9/11. They were going to release this action figure doll as an education piece for kids. And he was on his way to that press conference when American 11 flew into the First Trade Center tower.
Oh my.
And he had a decision to make. He was either going to turn left and go uptown to his press conference, or he was going to turn right and go down to the Trade Center. So he decided to go to the Trade Center, and he stopped at Firehouse 10, which is right across from the World Trade Center complex and where he spent most of his career. He grabbed somebody else's gear that was on the shelf there because he was in a suit, and he ran across the street, and he actually ended up getting caught in the first collapse of the building and dug out. Well, he was unresponsive, and he was put on a boat and taken across the river to New Jersey, where he was admitted to a Jersey City hospital underneath the name of the guys whose gear he was wearing. So they didn't even know who he was, and his family, everybody thought he was gone for several days after the event, where whenever he woke up, he said, well, I'm not this guy. He did end up dying in the tower, that guy whose gear he was wearing. But it's an incredible story, his recovery, and he's now traveled the country talking about this and how it was that day, and just a real intimate first count story about what it was that day. We're so excited. He's going to fly in, and he'll be at our dinner on the 31st.
An eyewitness account, on the dinner the evening before the 8th annual Columbia Memorial 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb, so the climb is on June 1st, Saturday, June 1st.
Yep.
The dinner, the 9/11 tribute dinner, the evening before, and I'm looking at the website now, which is columbiastairclimb.com.
Yep. And
columbiastairclimb.com.
You can register for both on there. We're kind of down to the wire on this. We really want to get our numbers both to the country club and for our T-shirt order for the climb. So if you're thinking about it, get on there and register today so that we can make sure that we have kind of a head count on both events.
Mm-hmm.
One thing we need to point out, too, boy, if you've never been to the stair climb, either the one in Columbia or the one in Jefferson City, is there are a lot of firefighters who do the whole thing in bunker gear with air packs and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so this will be my 8th time doing it, and then I think my 4th time doing it in full firefighter gear. I'm a lieutenant with the Boone County Fire District.
Thank you for that.
I have fire gear. Erica is our finance director as well, and we'll do it in our fire gear with the air packs, and that's the way those guys did it on 9/11.
Well, and I was going around the office yesterday trying to recruit some of our coworkers here at Zimmer to participate in the climb, and I was telling folks that if they were worried about maybe how they would do with the climbing 110 flights of stairs, that you're in the best place because you're surrounded by first responders. Right. Because I believe this is the biggest gathering of first responders in the state, right, Ryan?
I don't know about the state. It is one of the largest gatherings of first responders right here in mid-Missouri, and a lot of people like it because we do it there at the football field.
Wow.
Yes, we'll have a couple ambulances on standby, but most of us in that building will be we're all EMTs and paramedics, so everybody's going to be nice and safe.
So it's the equivalent of 110 flights.
How long does it usually take to complete?
It takes me about 45 minutes, and we noticed that the really athletic people are about 30 minutes all the way to about an hour and a half. So, and it's at your pace, right? Yeah. So it's just single file up. You want to take a break, you step off into the bleachers. I've had several people that one year they weren't sure, and they just did half of it, and then they hung out and showed support for the other half.
Super good. Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you for organizing this, for getting the word out. And again, ColumbiaStairClimb.com is the website. Make sure you get out and see Joe Cirillo talk the evening before.
Absolutely.
All that information is also linked on the radio station's websites and on our apps, so it's super easy to get to. I hope we see you guys there.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And all the best of luck on the event.